There was a time when I believed the biggest challenge in life was finding the perfect person. I thought love was about discovering someone who never made mistakes, never disappointed me, never argued, never carried emotional scars, and somehow fit every expectation I had created in my mind. But the longer I lived, the more I realized that perfection is one of the greatest illusions we ever chase. It exists in our imagination, not in real life. The more I searched for perfection, the more I overlooked the people who were standing right in front of me, people who were real, honest, and capable of giving something far more valuable than perfection ever could. The truth is, every single one of us carries imperfections. We all have fears that make us hesitate, habits that frustrate others, moments when we say the wrong thing, and days when we aren't at our best. If we expect someone to arrive without flaws, we're really asking them to stop being human. And if we demand perfection from someone else, we quietly place a burden on ourselves to become perfect too. That pressure slowly destroys the freedom that love is supposed to create. What my heart was really searching for wasn't perfection at all. It was peace. It was honesty. It was someone whose presence could calm the noise inside my mind after the world had exhausted me. Someone who didn't need to pretend to be flawless, because neither of us was trying to win a competition. We were simply choosing to walk through life together, learning, growing, and becoming stronger with every challenge we faced. I've learned that genuine love doesn't begin when you find someone who checks every box. It begins when you stop keeping score. It begins when you appreciate the smile that isn't always perfect, the laugh that comes at the wrong time, the stubbornness that sometimes leads to growth, and the heart that keeps showing up even after difficult days. Those aren't weaknesses. They're reminders that you're building something real instead of chasing a fantasy. Life will always introduce you to people who seem more successful, more attractive, or more impressive from a distance. But distance hides reality. The person who truly matters is the one who remains beside you after the excitement fades, after the expectations disappear, and after life reveals both of your imperfections. That's where real love quietly begins to grow. Because in the end, the heart never needed perfection. It only needed someone real enough to stay, and brave enough to love without pretending. Once I stopped chasing the illusion of perfection, something incredible happened. I began seeing people differently. Instead of looking for reasons someone wasn't enough, I started noticing the quiet qualities that made them unforgettable. And that's when I realized something that changed the way I understood love forever. Her imperfections weren't obstacles to loving her. They were the very reasons I fell in love. She wasn't always confident. There were days when she doubted herself, questioned her worth, and wondered if she was enough. But those moments didn't make her weaker in my eyes. They revealed her humanity. They showed me someone who was still willing to keep moving forward despite uncertainty. That kind of courage is far more beautiful than flawless confidence, because it's real, and reality has a depth that perfection can never imitate. She had habits that made me smile without even realizing it. Sometimes she overthought simple things. Sometimes she laughed at the wrong moment, or became quiet when words were difficult to find. She wasn't trying to impress anyone. She was simply herself, and the more I paid attention, the more I understood that authenticity is one of the rarest things a person can offer. In a world where so many people wear masks, someone who is willing to be completely genuine is extraordinary. There were moments when we disagreed, misunderstood each other, or struggled to communicate, but every challenge taught us something valuable. Every conversation made us stronger. Every misunderstanding reminded us that love isn't about never facing conflict. It's about refusing to let conflict become stronger than your commitment. Those imperfect moments became the foundation of trust, because we learned that staying and working through difficulties is more meaningful than walking away at the first sign of discomfort. I didn't fall in love with an ideal version of her that existed only in my imagination. I fell in love with the person who showed up every day, carrying her dreams, her fears, her strengths, and her scars. Those scars weren't signs that something was broken. They were proof that she had survived battles I could never fully understand. And instead of making her less beautiful, They made her story worth protecting. Real love doesn't happen because someone has no flaws. It happens because, after seeing those flaws, your heart still whispers the same answer every single day. This is the person I choose. And when love reaches that point, imperfections no longer need to be hidden. They become the fingerprints of a bond that no perfect fantasy could ever replace. The more I understood her, the more I realized that love isn't a single moment that changes your life forever. It's a decision that quietly shapes every ordinary day that follows. People often think love is measured by grand gestures, dramatic promises, or unforgettable moments. Those things are beautiful, but they don't sustain a relationship. What truly builds a lasting bond is something much simpler and much more powerful. The choice to keep choosing the same person every single day. There will be mornings when life feels effortless, when laughter fills the room and everything seems to fall into place. But there will also be days when stress takes over, when work becomes overwhelming, when exhaustion replaces excitement, and when misunderstandings create distance. Those are the moments that reveal what love is really made of. It's easy to stay when everything is perfect. It takes character to stay when life becomes complicated. Choosing her every day doesn't mean pretending that every moment is easy. It means waking up with the understanding that relationships require intention. It means listening even when you're tired. It means apologizing when your pride tells you to stay silent. It means forgiving without keeping score, encouraging without expecting applause, and standing beside each other even when the future feels uncertain. I realize that commitment isn't a cage that limits freedom. It's the foundation that allows two people to grow without constantly wondering if they'll be abandoned the moment they become imperfect. Real commitment creates safety. It tells the other person, you don't have to earn my presence every day. I'm here because I've chosen you. That kind of security gives love the space to mature into something deeper than excitement. It becomes trust. Every challenge we overcame together became another reason to keep choosing each other. Every difficult conversation strengthened our understanding. Every sacrifice became an investment in something greater than ourselves. We weren't building a relationship based on temporary emotions. We were building a life based on shared values, mutual respect, and the belief that what we had was worth protecting. The world will always offer distractions, comparisons, and the illusion that something better is waiting somewhere else. But happiness isn't found by endlessly searching for the next person. It's found by pouring your heart into the person who has already chosen to walk beside you. That's where love transforms from a feeling into a legacy. Because the strongest relationships are never built by people who found perfection. They're built by two people who wake up every morning and make the same powerful decision. Today, just like yesterday, I choose you. Choosing someone every single day becomes truly meaningful when life begins to test that choice. Anyone can celebrate with you when everything is going well. It's easy to stand beside someone during moments of success, when dreams are becoming reality and the future looks bright. But life has a way of reminding us that victories are only part of the journey. There are seasons when plans fall apart, confidence disappears, and the weight of uncertainty feels almost impossible to carry. Those are the moments that reveal who is truly standing beside you. I discovered that love isn't measured by who applauds your achievements. It's measured by who quietly stays when there is nothing to celebrate. When I questioned myself, she reminded me of the strength I had forgotten. When I failed, she didn't define me by my mistakes. She saw beyond the setback and believed in the person I was still becoming. That kind of belief is rare because it isn't based on results. It is based on faith. There were days when I didn't have the right words. My mind was filled with doubt, frustration, and the fear that maybe I wasn't enough. I expected disappointment, yet what I found was patience. She didn't try to solve every problem or pretend that everything would instantly be okay. Sometimes she simply stayed. She listened. She understood that presence can be more powerful than advice, and silence shared with someone who cares can heal wounds that words cannot reach. The challenges we faced together didn't weaken our relationship. They exposed its true strength. Every obstacle became an opportunity to trust each other more deeply. Every difficult season reminded us that love isn't about avoiding storms, it's about refusing to let go of each other's hand while walking through them. Anyone can promise forever when the skies are clear. The promise means something when it survives the rain. Looking back, I don't remember every success or every perfect day. What stays with me are the moments when everything seemed to be falling apart, yet she never walked away. Those memories became the foundation of something stronger than excitement. They became proof that loyalty isn't spoken through beautiful words. It's demonstrated through consistent actions when life is at its hardest. That's why I no longer judge love by how loudly it celebrates the good times. I judge it by how faithfully it remains during the hardest ones. Because the person who refuses to leave when your world is falling apart isn't just part of your story. They become the reason you find the strength to build it again. When someone has stood beside you through your highest moments and your lowest ones, you begin to understand that what you've built together cannot be measured by appearances. It's easy to look at someone else's relationship and imagine that their life is happier, easier, or somehow more perfect. Social media, movies, and even our own imagination have a way of convincing us that somewhere out there is a fantasy waiting to be found. But fantasies are built on carefully chosen moments. Real relationships are built on everyday choices. What we created together wasn't something that happened overnight. It was shaped by thousands of ordinary moments that most people would never notice. It was built through conversations that lasted late into the night, through quiet mornings filled with peace, through disagreements that taught us patience, and through countless acts of kindness that asked for nothing in return. Brick by brick, day by day, we built something that no shortcut could ever produce. There were moments when life tempted us to compare ourselves to others. We saw people who seemed to have more, achieve more, or live more exciting lives. But comparison is a thief. It steals gratitude for what is already growing in your hands. The moment you stop comparing your relationship to someone else's highlight reel is the moment you begin to appreciate the incredible value of your own journey. The greatest relationships are never free from challenges. They become great because two people decide that the relationship is more important than winning an argument, protecting their pride, or chasing an unrealistic fantasy. Instead of asking, "Is there someone better?" they begin asking, "How can I become better for the person who has already chosen me?" That single shift changes everything. Love stops being about consumption and starts becoming about contribution. Over time, I realized that trust, loyalty, shared memories, and unwavering commitment are treasures that cannot be replaced. They aren't found by endlessly searching for someone new. They are earned through time, sacrifice, forgiveness, and the courage to keep investing in each other long after the excitement of the beginning has faded. That investment creates something priceless, a connection that no perfect illusion could ever match. The world will always sell you the dream of something newer, easier, or more exciting. But the most extraordinary things in life are rarely discovered by starting over. They're created by refusing to give up on what truly matters. And when you look back years from now, you won't treasure the fantasy you imagined. You'll treasure the life you built together, because a love forged through trust and perseverance will always be worth more than any dream that never became real. After everything we've been through, every lesson we've learned, and every challenge we've faced together, one truth has become impossible to ignore. Love was never about finding someone without flaws. It was never about creating a perfect story that looked impressive from the outside. It was always about finding the one person who, despite every imperfection, made life feel complete in a way nothing else ever could. She isn't perfect, and neither am I. We both have moments when we lose patience, when we misunderstand each other, when we carry the weight of our own fears and insecurities. We've made mistakes, said things we wish we could take back, and faced seasons that tested our strength. But somehow, through every imperfect chapter, our story kept moving forward. Not because everything was easy, but because neither of us stopped believing that what we had was worth protecting. There is something extraordinary about finding the person who feels like home. Home isn't a place where everything is spotless or flawless. It's the place where you can finally stop pretending. It's where your victories are celebrated, your failures are understood, and your silence is never misunderstood. It's where you don't have to earn acceptance by being someone else. You are loved for who you truly are, not for the image you try to project. The world will always encourage you to keep searching, to keep comparing, to keep believing that happiness is waiting in the next opportunity or the next relationship. But I've learned that constant searching often blinds us to the greatest gift already standing beside us. Real fulfillment doesn't come from endlessly chasing perfection. It comes from recognizing the incredible value of the person who has walked beside you through every season of life and still chooses to stay. When I think about the future, I don't imagine a life without difficulties. Challenges will come, circumstances will change, time will leave its mark on both of us. But none of those things make me afraid anymore, because I've discovered something far more powerful than certainty. I've discovered trust. I've discovered loyalty. I've discovered a love that isn't dependent on perfect circumstances, but grows stronger because it has survived imperfect ones. Out of billions of people in this world, my heart no longer wonders if someone else would be better. It has already found the answer. It isn't searching for someone more perfect, more impressive, or more extraordinary. It has found the one person whose presence brings peace, whose faith brings strength, and whose love gives ordinary days extraordinary meaning. At the end of life, no one remembers the fantasy they chased. They remember the hands they held, the promises they kept, the storms they survived, and the heart that never gave up on them. And that is why I can say with absolute certainty, she isn't perfect. She's simply the one my heart calls home, and I would choose her again every single day for the rest of my life.